Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another episode on the Dark Rooms podcast. I'm Psychic here with Ozone, Inky, and Arcade Endo. We're back, baby, for the final 5 episodes of Season 3. Woo!
No way, Dark Rooms still exist? I forgot about it.
Yeah, the final stretch.
What's a dark room? I don't know what that is.
The Forgot Rooms podcast.
We're in the final stretch. It's been a good run, and now we're in I don't know, the part where all the friggin' stuff comes together, and then it's like a finale, and it goes wow. And
you mean the conclusion?
The Bobby Dots conclusion.
The resolution.
Yeah, no, not the Bobby Dots conclusion. That was different.
The Bobby Dots resurrection.
The Bobby Dots resurrection.
You've got to introduce the Dark Rooms Dark.
Oh yeah, we do have one of those, don't we?
God.
I forgot about that plot point.
We have a pet duck.
Apparently.
Alright, so today we're going to be talking about Nexie. We're a little late.
Just
what, May?
Well, we're going to try and catch up on the books.
Yeah, we're trying to catch up.
We've had Nexie come out, we've had Tiger Rock come out, and Beat 7-2 is due to come out soon, but it's very
And Ruin happened, which is crazy, and we'll talk about that on an episode.
Before we hop into the book, we quickly talk about stuff that we just never got around to talking about.
A lot of movie stuff, perhaps?
Yeah, we got a movie release date. We never talked about that.
Did we seriously not have an episode since the movie?
Did we actually not talk about
We have not. We haven't.
Oh my gosh.
We didn't record all summer.
Kinda.
We didn't record all summer.
That is true.
Yeah, but the sun was out, I was in the ocean. Happy days.
To be fair, I was at summer camp and that was hell. But I quit. Anyway. Yeah,
so we got some trailers for the FNAF movie.
Yeah, we got some. We never talked about the trailers. Oh my gosh,
they look pretty sick. Corey Kenshin was in them. It was crazy. It was awesome.
We got a release date.
We did
October 27th, which is almost less. It's like 2 months away.
Not even barely. Less than
a
2 months
after
away.
The Mario game.
Oh yeah,
and there's so many cool Mario. There's Mario Bros.
Guys, we should talk about Mario on this podcast.
I'm so excited for
the Mario Rooms podcast.
But I'm also excited for Mario
the
RPG.
Dark Mario.
Excited for what?
Mario RPG also.
Oh yeah, that one's coming out this month.
Oh, I don't care about that.
No, it comes out in November.
Oh wait, oh yeah. I got those backwards.
Yo, guys.
Let's talk about more things not FNAF related.
Yeah,
let's
make this
do you guys want to play Mario Bros. Online when it comes out?
I actually do. I actually really do.
Let's do it then.
Okay, I'm down. Anyway, the FNAF movie is happening. It's gonna be cool.
Apparently, some people think it's gonna be 3 hours long. I'm a little skeptical on that.
Yeah, that's for all we know. That is just an estimate and a leak, and it could be very wrong. Even though it got updated on some page somewhere, it could just be updating from that leak. Right. So we really don't know how long the movie is. Although I would gladly take a 3-hour FNAF movie. That sounds fun.
I don't think I would. I don't think I would.
Casual.
Yeah, sorry. I don't think I would enjoy a 3-hour long. Like you've got to have your limits somewhere. I don't know. It might be dragged out, stuff like that.
Perhaps. I mean, if it's a well-paced, full of content 3-hour FNAF movie, I would take that.
I mean, sure, but I hardly think it's going to be action-packed like the Mario movie. Hey, we're talking about Mario again. What I do want to say is I'm quite upset actually because everybody's on strike at the moment, so we're not getting,
for good reason.
Interviews.
For good reason.
For good reason, sure. But we're not getting interviews for Scott. We're not getting interviews for the actors.
Scott is not
Scott's
part
an
of
actor, mate.
Yeah, Scott's not part of the strike.
I didn't say Scott was an actor.
Yes, you did. But you just said that right now. I heard it with my own ears.
He's the writer.
Right, but I don't think he's in the union. So I don't think he's on strike. But I don't know what Scott's writing.
Okay, Jason Blum then.
I don't know. I don't know. I don't know if Blumhouse is super affected. I don't know. We might get.
Blum was talking about the stuff on his Twitter, so maybe he's not part of the union. I don't know.
Either way, maybe we'll get stuff later, but
Hopefully.
I'm fine without interviews and like pre-release content, just because the strike is important.
Yeah. Because people need to become.
People need to get paid fairly.
Yeah. Mhm.
Yeah.
So,
Well then.
another thing we haven't talked about since the podcast, since we took a little bit of a break, there was a new FNAF game announced.
Oh, yeah. I'm sure we talked about.
We never
We did
did.
talk about it. No, we did. We
no,
did a
no,
little
we
bit.
didn't.
Yes,
When?
we did. I remember talking about it. It was
Yeah,
the last
same.
episode we did, I think.
Really? No, with the last
Yeah.
one.
I'm sure we did.
I'm sure
We
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 did.
did it on like the weekend. The weekend it was announced.
When was the last?
The last one we did was the fanfic.
Was it ever uploaded? No, the one before the
No,
fanfic.
yeah, Major FNAF News. It was probably in that. That was
Yeah,
an
it was
episode
in
we
that.
did.
Oh.
That's the one we talked about the movie in the red eyes.
Yeah, because we did talk about the red
Because
eyes.
it all happened in the same weekend, remember?
Psychic's
Or in the same
timeline
week.
is out of date.
Well, okay.
Either
you know
way.
what we didn't talk about the end of Tales from the Pizzaplex, because
Yeah. It's
Apparently-
coming up on us.
apparently the 8th book is going to be the last.
And that makes sense, especially with the epilogues.
Yeah.
Like,
Now, what if? Hear me out, guys. There was another series of short story books.
I don't
Tales
know.
from the VR headset.
Tales from the VR headset. Tales from the metaverse. Mark Zuckerberg.
See, I wouldn't be opposed. I would love more books. But like, I think it is done for the moment. I know we do have like a book adaptation of the movie that's due to come out, and we have other cool things like
Oh,
a second
yeah.
one
I know
book
about that.
essentially. But like,
Mhm.
I do think that's it for now.
You know what's funny? We had the exact same conversation at the end of Fazbear Frights.
Yeah.
Hey, look where we are now.
Oh well. Shall we, on the topic of the books, jump into our main topic for the day?
One last thing we should probably talk about since we're catching up on everything. We got Help Wanted gameplay. Final Help Wanted 2 gameplay.
Right.
All kinds of, yeah.
Yes.
We
Because
got...
PAX is going on.
Yep, so we basically got confirmation of... It's gonna be like the first Help Wanted with mini-games. And we got, what was it? Like, we got a breaker room, a whack-a-mole game with Bonbon, and we got a daycare attendant moon carousel ride thing.
Interesting.
Yeah. And we know Bellora's going to be in it. We know Circus Baby's going to be in it. There's a lot going on.
So I
There
think
is a lot.
we are probably getting, like, a few sister location things. I really hope it's not all sister location because, like, there's not much
I'm
you
hoping
can
for
do
FNAF
with sister location. Like, there's not too much.
How would they explain in universe FNAF 6 being there?
Yeah, that is true. Maybe Henry possesses a circuit board, and then they put that circuit board into
Henry shifting his entire being into a circuit board.
Yes.
Wait, how would we explain FNAF 6 being there? What?
Yeah, because if it's a VR game in universe, how would they know what happened there if it all burned down?
What if it's not a
Well-
game in universe?
Okay, sure.
Well, that would be
but
great. I hope it's not a game in universe because that
Let's
always
not
just makes it
forget-
super complicated for no reason.
Let's not forget that in the first Help Wanted there is a Scrap Baby plushie.
Yeah, I guess, but that doesn't make any sense. Still,
I mean, you
I
can
don't
just be like,
know.
oh, we
It's
recreated.
based on rumors and stuff.
Yeah.
I guess.
You don't sound content with.
I'm not,
With
but
explanation.
I don't find that answer.
You know who else is
incredibly
returning?
convincing.
The
Huh?
plush babies are returning.
Of course they are.
Yeah.
Oh,
Wouldn't have it any other way.
I hate them.
Hey,
They
I
are
finally
essential.
beat both Plush Baby and Plush Scrap Baby in VR without cheating. So,
It took you like 4 years.
I mean, I did Plush Baby the first one pretty well. Listen, I just like couldn't see the Scrap Baby, so Evan had to help me a lot.
hmm
I had like struggle. Like, I don't think he was like he's like it's right there. Look right there. I'm like, oh, it is right there.
So I think the plan Are we gonna talk more about Ruin in depth next episode?
I think
I think
we
that might be
will.
appropriate.
Yeah, we will dedicate an entire episode to Ruin because that
'Cause there's a
happened and
lot
that
I
was a
wanna talk
lot. There
about.
was a lot to unpack.
That was amazing.
And this
It was great, yeah.
episode, if you know you've been around this long to finally get to the main topic, is all going to be about Nexie. Since there's only 5 episodes of the season, we're not going to do the whole like, oh, there's 2 stories per episode. We're just going to do the whole book.
Yep. And we don't have to go super in depth, especially because there's probably been some distance for us between reading the stories and now.
I think we should do what we normally do, like summarize it and then.
I mean, yes, but like they probably won't be as detailed because it's been a while since we've read it.
A confession to make: I have not read Nexie.
Oh my gosh,
The story Nexie.
There is no way. Did you read the other 2?
I'll just react to it. Yeah, I don't even know what the other 2 were. It was Drowning and
The Mimic. It was literally the Mimic.
and the Mimic. Yeah, okay.
The Mimic.
Okay.
How
okay.
could you forget the
Okay,
Mimic?
I'll give a summary
Sorry.
of Nexie. Okay. All right.
Okay.
So this takes place. You guessed it, in the Mega Pizzaplex. So we follow
No
a little
way.
girl named Aster and her.
Wasn't it Astrid?
Is it Astrid?
I think so.
It's one of those. It's one of
Where
those.
that was.
Anyway.
Psychic's doing a great job with the summary already. Leave a like on the YouTube.
She lives with her
What?
grandpa, who's very like a. What's the word? Like he's
A
very like.
homie. He's the cool guy. He's the Chad. He's the goat.
He's very like, I'm not gonna let technology do my work for me. I'm gonna make things. I'm not gonna like buy everything, consumerize everything.
He's sick.
He's
A communist.
No, he's not a communist.
No. Anyway, they're at the Mega Pizzaplex and they're just hanging out. And Astrid wants this thing called a Buddytronic, because everybody at her school has them. So they're
All
like
the cool kids have them.
they're like these like robot pets that are actually kind of sentient because it's FNAF. Why not?
They've got really good AI.
Really good AI. And she's like, everybody at school has them, and it makes them super cool, and I want one. And she's also like, I want it to look like a doll version of my mom, because my mom left me.
Oh no.
So, she goes to school, she gets picked on because she's a weird kid, because she's super smart. And there's this side character who's like super rich and super popular, and he's mean to her, but he actually kind of likes her. But he can't show
Well,
that.
he's not super mean to her. He kind of just like he's like
He-
a
he-
victim of the bandwagon, the peer pressure.
Yeah, he lets the others pick on her.
And he's kind of the viewpoint for the audience as like seeing what happens through the eyes of a normal person,
Yeah,
because things get a little wacky.
yeah, and but he's like, I like her, but I'm not supposed to because I'm rich and she's poor. She don't got that.
The
shit.
classic dilemma.
Anyway, so Astrid wants to be cool, and she really wants a Bunnytronic, so she saves up money, and she, like, oh, for my birthday, I just want money, and, like, her grandpa's like, I'm gonna make you something, I think he makes her, like, a desk or something out of wood, and she's like, oh, thank you, he's like, you don't like it? She's like, no, he's like, well, here's this extra money I saved up, it's just how much you need for your toy, I'm not a big fan of the robot stuff, but if it'll make you happy, I'll buy you one. And she's like, yay! So they go to the Mega Pizzaplex, and something's not quite right. Everything's wrong. People are running around for something. There's something going on with this weird, like, storyteller tree or something. People don't really know.
Things are going a little wonky.
So
A little bit of a glitch in the system.
I was about to say, I wonder what's going wonky here.
So they get to the Buddytronic store, and they're about to close up, but they're like, no, we can't, there's like a glitch in the system. And she's like, please, pretty, please, with cherry on top. And they're like, what's the harm? So she picks
They were
everything
about
out.
to find out what the harm was.
She picks everything out, and they make it, but it's like making a bunch of loud noise, not quite right. And when it comes out, it's like a doll, but it's like super deformed. And and Astrid's just like staring at it like, what the hell is this? And then the dad's like, or the grandpa's like, we're not paying for that. Like, oh yeah, you definitely don't have to. We'll give you a refund. But she's like, no, I must keep it. Everyone always tells me I'm a mistake, but I won't let this doll feel the same way. She's like, no, I'll take it.
It was a beautiful moment.
So she takes it home, and it activates, and the doll's like, hello, Astrid. She's like, yeah, blah blah blah. She's like, wow.
It immediately recognizes that it's not the way it should be.
Yeah, it's like, wow, I'm ugly, just like you, and it's just like, no.
Dang, bro, that one hit.
She's like, yeah, don't you want to help me be happy? Make me fix me and repair me and stuff. And Astrid's like, I guess I can try. So then hijinks ensue. She brings it to school, and of course everyone makes fun of her for the doll. And then she's like...
And the doll exhibits some red flags.
Yeah, she's like glaring.
Some alarming behavior.
It's like glaring at the kids. And then tries
to trip one.
Yeah, again, so they're like going downstairs, and she tries to trip one, and if someone hadn't caught the kid, he would have gone over the rail and fallen
to his inevitable death.
Because he's a child. And the one guy is like, I swear, the doll jumped out of Astrid's arms, but Astrid's like, no, I just dropped it probably.
Probably. Because she doesn't even recognize what's going on yet either. She's trying to deny it. She's like, nah, surely that can't be that. That can't be the reason.
And then later, while they're getting ready to be picked up from school, the doll straight up just attacks a kid and oh my gosh, it was a rabid dog, and the kid's all bleeding and dying.
Oh yeah, it took a chunk out of his leg.
Yeah. But the guy's no, that was the doll. And Astrid...
nope, I saw it all.
And Astrid knows too, because at this point, her face is pale, and she realized...
she's like, oh crap, I've unleashed a monster.
She's like, okay, maybe if I fix it up, it won't feel the need to do these things. So she goes to fix it, and she's like, what do we need? It's oh, we need we need a new endoskeleton. We're at that. Well, you need to get it at Faz, in the Fazbear Parts Center or whatever. So... And
Nexie throughout the story is saying how important it is to be balanced and perfect and just looking all
to be beautiful.
A little bit.
Yeah.
But not white.
Not white. So she goes to the pizza place again. She steals a card. She goes to the place. She steals the endoskeleton. There's also another side character of this repair lady. She gets parts from, but they're super expensive. So she just ends up stealing from him. I'm pretty sure. And basically, it all culminates. She has all the parts. So she's like, okay, I'm gonna try to put you back together. The Thing.
You said The Thing. I don't know if they say that in the book.
They don't say it in the book, but I thought it'd be funny. So she's so she starts repairing it, and it cuts to the next day, and it's the end of the story. So she goes into class and she sits down, and you can't see her face, and then people come in, they scream, and the guy looks over, he screams. It's she turns around, her face is all
stretched and
plastic with metal and scraps and bloody. She's like, I look perfect, don't I? Or something like that.
Something like that. So basically, the whole
the
whole twist. Yeah, the whole twist is that Nexie this entire time isn't really talking about itself as the doll, but is talking about fixing Astrid so that she looks more perfect.
Mm-hmm. More,
and then that's perfect. What it does. Yeah.
I do see the connection there to Be Beautiful, sort of.
Also kind of Sergio's Lucky Day-esque.
A little bit, yeah. So, those of us who read it, which I'm assuming is everyone but Ozone, what do you think about this one?
Fantastic.
Well, thank you, Ozone. Your input is very much...
I don't know, what did you think?
I think it's a good story. I think it's
the weakest of the three.
Yeah, I think it's... Well, I'm not sure if I agree with that.
Interesting.
I think it's kind of it feels like a very normal story. Very oh, you get this doll, you get this, there's this robot, it's acting a little funny, slowly gets more and more like dangerous, and then it turns on the human and the human dies. I feel like it's pretty like normal for the series.
She didn't necessarily die. She just needed, a lot of surgery, probably.
Yeah, and probably some therapy.
Would you say it's just like a bundle of like past themes from different stories we've already seen before? Or?
Yeah.
I suppose.
Do you disagree, Inky? Disagree?
Arcadendo, do you have any thoughts about it? I mean, I guess you said you think it's the weakest of the three.
Yeah, I think out of the three, it's the weakest because it's. I don't know. I just wasn't the biggest fan of it. It's not bad, but I prefer the other two.
All right, here's the hot take. This was my favorite one from Nexie.
Really?
It was, yes. I enjoyed the story the most.
Even more than the Mimic.
Even more than the Mimic.
No way.
All right, why don't you explain, Inky?
This is one of those stories where the characters are written so well that they definitely like feel a bit more real, and it was definitely a situation where I was like, dang, I actually do not want anything bad to happen to these characters. They're like too wholesome, and so that really got me into it. And I do wish at the end we could have seen a bit more of how that like affected her life. Like, how did the grandpa react? Like, but that's all kind of left off screen. But I am glad that at the very least she's probably alive, and I can just imagine a headcanon that she just gets all fixed up. Maybe not all fixed up, but she survives the experience, and maybe it has a good ending somewhere in there off screen afterwards. I think Nexie was an interesting antagonist, especially how vague it was with its like comments and threats, and how it's like a little creature that like attacks children, I guess. Overall, I just thought it was a very good story that fits within the universe, because like it all comes from the Pizzaplex, and obviously the whole like glitching stuff is like that explains why this little doll is like a weird little psychopath. I just really liked the character writing in this one. Really stood out more than anything, and I appreciate that, especially in comparison to the other two stories.
Yeah, I can see that.
Yeah.
Is this just like another example of a story where we see kind of like the effects of the glitchy tree? That was a really weird.
No,
weird
I don't think that's too far off. I'm pretty sure it was implied that was what kind of messed up the Nexie doll.
Yeah. And also kind of. I guess that would also mess up the AI.
Right.
Yeah.
I don't think it exhibited characteristics of like the Mimic being in control, but it definitely just messed up the system.
Yeah, cool.
I could be wrong though. Maybe Nexie was the Mimic. Who knows?
No limpling.
All right. Any other thoughts on Nexie?
It's goated and underrated, and everyone should put it in like the top half of their list now.
All right.
It's going in D tier.
I hate you.
I haven't even read it.
You're doing it out of spite.
Elsa hasn't done audiobooks in a while. I guess you're pretty much done with them.
I haven't. For anybody here waiting for them, you might need to wait more, but I do plan on doing them at some point.
Someday.
I'm just so busy. I'm so busy these days.
Ozone. Idea, okay? We feed an AI voice all of your audiobooks.
No.
Wait, that's actually so fun.
No, don't do it.
Wait,
don't you do it.
If Ozone's using his own voice as AI,
Do it.
like...
You should get the Mimic to do it for you.
If Ozone's using his own voice, you do it only for the Mimic story. Oh my god!
Okay, that would be funny.
How does this guy not slip up anymore?
But you feed it all your audiobooks so it has so much to work with.
And you should have the
Oh,
AI voice just
no.
randomly scream at some point.
Like whenever it's just Mimic, it's just like Mimic kill, Mimic kill.
Just shout Mimic whenever it's like the Mimic just showed up and just ran down the hall.
I should have it read the stories backwards.
Oh my gosh.
Oh my gosh.
Shall we move on to the next story in the book, Nexie?
Sure.
Yeah, the mimic zone.
All right, drowning. Should I do the summary for this one too?
Sounds like you're drowning while you're saying
I mean, I can do it. It might be a little faster as well, so we have enough time to get to the Mimic.
I mean, we have tons of time.
Do we?
I don't remember what happens this one.
So this is the weird one, in my opinion.
Yeah, I don't like this one.
What was the main character's name?
Oh my gosh, I'll look it up.
I just remember her as Cassidy.
Oh,
no,
shoot.
actually, no.
Everyone stop talking. I've messed up.
Oh no.
I don't know if I completely unplugged my microphone. I don't know if the audience could hear you there.
Could hear me. Wait.
Okay.
Do you want to check?
I just when it was like 5 seconds. When I was like, stop talking. That's when I unplugged it.
Okay.
Oh, I thought that was the whole thing.
Yeah.
No.
It scared me for a second.
No. We're fine.
Okay, the main character is called Kara.
Kara. Drowning.
Is it not?
I don't trust you. Oh, it is. Okay. Kara.
All right, so we got Kara. Probably has family issues because let's be honest.
So she's the one with the other friends.
Yep.
And she doesn't like going along with what the other friends are doing.
Mm-hmm.
So when she's given the opportunity, the other two are doing something. She really wants to do the Freddy Fazbear's virtual reality water park experience.
Actually, they do it like as a group.
Yes, they do a round of the VR experience, but it's not super important to the story. It's more so that she goes back and she talks to the guy, the attendant,
Zach.
and he's like, we can. And she's like, oh, can I please do this? Like, I mean, I'm on my break. I'm not supposed to be running this. And she's like, oh, if you just do the settings, I'll only be there for 15 minutes, but it'll feel like an hour. And he's like, okay, fine. And so she goes in and she's having a blast at this weird, VR water park.
Okay, Inge, you keep missing. I mean, this one's actually an important detail. You learn that how it works is they basically mess with your brain, and so you think that 1 minute is actually an hour. So
right.
They can extend it. So
Yes.
they have this thing, and you basically you put in a number, and it extends the virtual time frame. Ooh, when in reality it's just 5 minutes. But you can set it to 0, and that will keep going until someone turns it off.
Yeah.
And he's like,
I instantly knew where it was going.
Make sure you. He's like, okay, and the first thing you learn is you never ever put it to 0. She's like, okay, makes sense. Like, okay, I'm gonna put you in, and then he keeps it at 0. The one thing he's supposed to never do.
Because wasn't he called away for something?
Yeah, he was
right before. Yeah. So she's in there playing in the water park, and everything seems normal. Everything's going fine. And then she sees she starts catching a glimpse of this weird something in the water. What is that? She eventually gets a good look at it, and it's this girl who's just underwater, and she's very pale, and she's almost she's drowning there. And she's like, okay, that's kind of weird. So, yeah, so someone's down there. And she's like, okay, heck no. I'm gonna avoid that. But it keeps showing up, and eventually it tries to drag her into the water with her, and she can see it's super creepy and almost rotting underwater. It's almost like an illusion that it's normal from the surface. And pretty much most of the story, aside from cutaways to the friends being where is she? What's she doing? Is her running through this VR water park as it's slowly getting less and less vibrant. It's becoming more like cold and very basic.
You should
and,
find a hot
is,
tub in that case.
Kind of.
Kind of like the back rooms.
Yeah, kind of like the back rooms if it was a water park. Very liminal spacey. And doesn't she find? Isn't there like a house at some point?
Yep. Let me see if I can find that section.
Yeah, there is a house. Yeah.
There's a house, and she goes in there, and there's like the girl's room or something, and she's still drowning like in her bed basically. And basically everything is going very strange. She
breaks her legs at one point.
Right. Yes.
Oh, wait,
she does.
That's
do
near
that.
the end, actually.
Yeah. No, wait. Yeah. No, that's
Okay,
right
nice.
at the end. That's right at the end. Because then she can't do anything. So she keeps having these near-death experiences where she almost gets drowned by this mysterious, weird girl, and she's like, "Surely the timer must be almost up. Like the timer. Oh my gosh, it's gonna be. I'll get out of here any minute." But she never does. So she's starting to go insane. She's starting to lose it. And she sees this water slide that like connects to the ceiling. It's like maybe there's like something up there. Maybe that's the path to freedom.
She actually falls asleep. Wait, there's also one interesting part where she falls asleep in the VR and has dreams.
Oh yeah.
I remember another cool section that we didn't talk about is at one point she finds herself in a mirror maze that gets like slowly filled with water.
Yeah. Lots of weird and zany stuff happens.
Anyway.
But she starts trying to climb the outside of the water slide. She eventually slips and falls and breaks her legs. And at that point, the creature, La Creatura, the weird girl, kind of crawls up out of the water and drags her in.
Mm-hmm.
And don't the friends like kind of like find her, but
so basically
she's
they
like
go
kind of unresponsive.
The friends go to the information desk and they're like, "Hey, we need help." And they see Zach, the guy that was running the event. They run over. She's like, "Hey, where's our friend? Have you seen her? Like you were at the thing." And he's like, "Oh crap, I left her in there." So they go back, and he turns off hyper time, which is the freaking
right. Yeah.
Like, oh, it's longer than it seems, and they rush to Takara, and she's not responding. And she's like, "Oh crap, she's dead." So they scream. The end.
That's just how it ends.
Yep.
I didn't like that ending.
What do we think about this one?
Felt really Haps-like to me.
How so? Interesting.
It was just like the whole like, you're running through water parks and more water parks. It's just. You know, kind of like how Haps like, it's just running through tubes and tubes. And
well, I would say at least with this one, there was variety. Like it was,
True.
It used like an infinite space, but changed it up every now and then.
I like it more than Haps.
I think I wouldn't even compare it to Haps, honestly, personally.
In what way?
Like I don't think just having that sort of like repeating setting necessarily puts it in the same boat as Haps.
Oh, right, yeah.
Well, I still liked it, but, like... Yeah, I feel like it was similar. Like...
What does it mean? That's my biggest problem with it. Nothing feels...
Yeah.
explained. Like... I mean, sure, it's connected to FNAF just by being in the Pizzaplex, but even then, like, we never get explanations on, like, anything. I feel like maybe there was like some lore that was hinted at when she was in the house where it was like almost seeming like it was backstory for the girl, but like we still don't know who that is, how she died, what that means that she's in the VR game. Like we know nothing about it, and for me that makes it tricky to like have a lasting impression where it's like usually by the end there's like a twist or something that makes it all make sense.
Some big reveal.
Right, or some big reveal. It was just very... It felt, I don't know, it felt like it should have had like a part 2 or something, like explaining stuff, or at least some... It's weird, because like I can't imagine like a space in the story that they would just take to like explain this girl's backstory. But either way, it just doesn't really make sense, because like let's say she was a real girl who like had some like creepy drowning incident. How does that connect to the Pizzaplex at all? How is she in a VR game?
I think Actually, Inky, I think that this can explain. Actually, yeah, I think this helps explain Under Construction.
Really?
Because, she lived years in the VR without it only being like less than a day. And I think this just shows like a lot of the FNAF VR stuff that Phasma Entertainment has this like hyper time thing. So it's like time feels longer than
Technology
it
is insane. Yeah.
I mean, sure, but it's not the only story to do that. And it's not like that doesn't explain anything about the girl. That just kind of it elaborates on
Honestly,
the VR
I think-
and AR stuff in this Pizzaplex has like a lot more time to it.
Well, I think the girl, like the drowned girl, was just. I think that's just like a glitch in the system. Honestly.
Well, yeah, but that's not a satisfying.
Well, I mean,
That's
she
not
was,
really a
She was
satisfying
there before
thing.
Kara was.
Okay.
Because like at the very beginning,
Yes.
I think
at the very beginning when they're going through the first round with her friends, she looks at the
Yeah,
and
I
there's,
remember
like,
that.
a shadow in the water.
It just. I feel like it could have been better explained if it was a glitch in the system. It's kind of a very specific and weird glitch to have, like generating an entire creepy like horror movie girl in the water. I think a more reasonable explanation would be maybe it is a past victim of the VR. I don't know. There's no like the problem is there's nothing to suggest these possibilities.
Some people think that the drowned girl's like
So,
Cassidy.
yeah, the main theory
Oh my
is that
gosh.
the drowned girl is Cassidy.
Why?
And like,
because
hang on.
Alright, I'll let you go first.
First of all, sorry, actually you go first.
Because in the story, when exploring the house, she finds this picture of a girl with black hair, a picture of a girl with black hair with two parents that you can't see their faces because like the picture's worn out, and it's like, oh, they had clothes appearing from like a different time period, and people are like, oh, that must be like the late 90s when Cassidy probably died.
Yeah, I don't know about that. But
That's-
Hey, that's just what
vague.
people are saying. That's
Yeah,
not,
yeah.
I got the impression that it was like supposed to be like one of those like classic horror tropes where it's like this ghost has like old timey clothing. That's what I took like another time period to
I
mean.
think it is a trope, yeah.
Yeah.
I do wish it was explained more, and you are right in saying that. And I am so sorry, but I'm gonna go back to Mario.
What? Okay.
I don't know why he keeps popping up here. But...
I'm curious. Elaborate.
So here's a quote that I think you'll find interesting, potentially, maybe. And I don't know how you're going to react to this because I don't fully believe it, but it's just something that's in the book. So it says, Kara had played plenty of video games in her life. There was always a goal for the games she played. Save the princess, finish the maze without dying, collect all the treasure. Save the princess. Obviously a reference to Mario, or like the games that she liked to play. But also, second-handedly, potentially not the Princess Quest.
Yeah, okay.
And it's potential like this is a girl that's trapped in like a game, right? So I feel like in the same way that like Under Construction relates to Princess Quest, like I feel like this also kind of shows that I don't know. There's like souls that
There can be. I mean, yeah.
in games. I don't know. It's difficult.
It is because I think they could have explained that better. And
Yeah.
even if that is it, and it's just kind of like a symbolic connection to Princess Quest, that's not really that satisfying as a story. Like, I know I'm sure at this point it's very common knowledge that my preferences in stories are that like they tell a good story on their own and aren't just a tool for outside lore. And I feel like if this is really just like all about Princess Quest in a very vague and roundabout way, that doesn't really. I'm not a huge fan of that. Plus, even then, it just kind of feels like a bit of a stretch to me.
I
like,
just feel like this
people
story had
finding-
a lot of potential, and just didn't really go anywhere.
Right. It just didn't feel. It doesn't really feel like it fit in. It was neat as a little horror story, I guess, but like nothing gets explained. It's barely connected to FNAF, the only thing people can try to connect to it is Princess Quest, which has been used for like a bunch of other stories already.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like they're just finding something that it like vaguely has in common with something else and goes, maybe that's what it means. And if that's the strongest connection it can have, that's, I don't know.
I have another example of that, and that is the drowned ending of FNAF World, where you go to Old Man Consequences Lake and you drown yourself. And that's potentially Cassidy that we are playing as the Golden Freddy or whatever.
Interesting.
So there are small connections, but like
Nothing-
again,
You're very roundabout.
nothing substantial, yeah.
Yeah.
But what do you think
Arcadendo.
of the story overall?
Yeah, what do we think? Anyone willing to step up, be bold with?
I personally didn't like it because I was confused. I just wish there were answers to things.
Yeah,
I didn't mind it. I think it was more similar to the style of the other stories that we've seen in like Tales from the Pizzaplex, but it didn't have any huge revelations. I didn't mind it, to be honest. I preferred it over Nexie.
How dare you?
That is interesting.
I dare.
You dare? Okay.
I can't wait to do another tier list batch of episodes.
Oh yeah, that'll be fun.
That's gonna be very controversial.
Oh boy.
Guys, it's a time.
The Mimic!
The Mimic!
Yes.
Alright, so
Oh boy.
who's
The Mimbo
okay.
Crimbo.
So, summary for the Mimic. We start off with Edwin Murray
The guy!
from Hit Story and Victim from The Storyteller.
No way. He's back.
He's
back. And
Back.
Performing for you.
Edwin's like, oh
Something
yeah.
some DK crew.
Edwin has an unfortunate parallel with the Hit Story, The Cliffs, because he has a son, but his wife dies.
Oh my god.
True, I guess.
So, basically, after the wife died, Edwin's like all depressed and stuff.
Why are you laughing?
Edwin
This is a bad story, you solo thing.
He goes, so his wife dies, and then
Anyway, so his dad's dead.
So we got ourselves a boy, and his dad is dead. Insert laughter. Classic Darkrooms moment.
Classic.
Okay.
Yeah.
Anyway, so he and his son they live in a factory, and he's like, I have to take care of my son, but I have to get this work done. He's like, oh yeah, I also started work for this Fazbear Entertainment people. I sold
Yeah,
my
he's
company.
very, very spread thin at the moment.
His factory has slides next to his stairs for his son. Also, his son has this white tiger plushie. It's very cute.
Tiger Rook? That will come in handy later.
It's a surprise
Tiger
tool that'll
Rook
help us
is in
later.
my house.
Dude.
So, basically, Edwin's like, okay, I can't take care of my son because I'm neglectful. And so, he builds him a robot. What kind of robot? A robot that mimics David, so David has a friend.
Yeah.
I wonder what he's gonna call the robot.
Yeah, it's called the Mimic One program.
They call it the copycat.
And-
Yeah, the copycat.
And then the copycat.
Why didn't they make him why didn't he build him like a little tiger like robot and name it Copycat?
Yeah, that would have been sick, man.
Edwin's just not
because
creative.
then
Edwin's
it
not
can't-
creative.
Opportunity.
Because then it can't be like a humanoid that rips off arms and rips off heads. You idiots.
Oh, I can't believe it. You're right. You got me.
So
I'm gonna
anyway,
go get fruit snacks now.
he gives.
I'll be right back.
Okay, have fun. He gives David the mimic, and they play patty cake, because that's easy to mimic, because you do the same movements. Then like the time skip. David keeps being like, oh mimic, look at this thing, but the mimic it can't talk, So they make their own form of sign language. And then one day while Edwin's working, he's looking at his son like, the mimic's not mimicking. It's also answering back what David's asking? And Edwin's like, that's very
They're communicating.
interesting. They're communicating. I was like, it's getting smarter. Well, I trust it with my son more. Yippee.
Well, I mean, yeah, he has no reason not to. Ultimately, like, even by the end of the story, he has no reason not to.
Then, like, more time skip, just more David and Mimic. It's the David and Mimic show on every Tuesday night at 7:30 EST. Then, they're like, oh, he starts doing chores, and they get dirty, and they, they're playing games.
They get dirty.
Yeah. Like, and then Edwin's upset, because, like, remember, like, Edwin gets upset, like, cause, like, you got your clothes dirty when they're supposed to be nice for blah, blah, blah reason. Anyway, the next day, Dave was like, hey, let's go play catch outside, Dad. And he runs outside and gets friendly phrased. He gets
what? Oh, friendly phrased. I heard, like, friggly phrased, and I'm like, that's an interesting way of saying hit by a car.
He got friendly faced and gets absolutely destroyed by a truck.
And then his face gets put on an animatronic cat called Copycat.
That does not happen. Disclaimer: do not listen to Ozone.
And then, Edwin's like, no! And he's super upset. Obviously, he gets more depressed.
And he domestically abuses the Mimic.
He does domestically abuse the Mimic, which was a bad idea.
So basically,
considering
he wants to deactivate it, but doesn't have the energy to. It's like, he continue working on other stuff, but then like the Mimic comes up and he's holding David's tiger plush,
and he starts doing the sign language and starts like mimicking the child.
He wants ice cream, and then Edwin's just like, I'm done. So he takes a metal rod and just starts beating the child. And he's
really, yeah.
It's a really powerful scene.
It's tragic. It's great.
Yeah.
For some reason,
Psychic's laugh track is not doing it justice.
For some reason, I just had the image of like Baymax in Big Hero 6. It kind of gave me that sort of vibe. No. There's a scene. I swear, there's a scene where someone dies. And they start beating up Baymax. I don't know. I
don't think they beat up Baymax in that movie.
The brother dies. The brother dies. And
we're just doing Big Hero 6 lore now.
And the other brother's like super sad, and Baymax just gives him a hug.
Oh, and also in Mario.
Oh my
god.
When Princess Peach dies.
Mario
beats the shit out of Yoshi.
No.
Him down a hole.
I can't believe you leaked to the Mario movie too.
Oh my gosh.
But yeah.
Oh my gosh.
He beats up the Mimic, and that, teaches the Mimic to beat up people.
Yeah, so time skip a couple months, Edwin Murray disappears, and there's these new characters named Dominic, Harry, and Glenn, and they're like, okay, let's just explore and
they're sent by Fazbear Entertainment to like collect stuff from they think they're there to collect stuff from the warehouse now that Edwin Murray's gone.
But isn't this the second batch of people?
Exactly, that's what they find out.
Is it the second batch or the third batch?
It is. Well, it's a multiple batch.
Basically, they enter and the door closed, which is strange. And they find like
costumes.
They find a tape, and they're like, oh, the tape's like from like the previous employee. Like, oh yeah, we're trapped.
There's a weird smell.
Yeah,
everywhere.
Smell.
They all kind of know. The main guy kind of knows what it is, but he kind of doesn't.
They open up a
accept it.
fridge, and it's like a compacted mass of corpses.
There's a guy. He's no longer living.
There's a man hanging from a clothes hanger with a rod speared through him. And then one of them screams, and and there's like a jester costume, and it's like pulling out his brains.
Yep.
And then the other two, they had like, we need weapons, but the mimic comes back and like slams one guy's head through like a brick wall, and like uses the wall like a cheese grater for his body.
Yep.
How appetizing.
Yeah, and then lastly, the mimic
Oh,
corners
great.
the last guy.
Well, he tries to go up to the storage to try and get supplies or a way out,
Mm-hmm.
but doesn't really have much hope anymore.
No. It like grabs him and slams him on the floor, and then like
The mimic, he must have
tears
played
his
Mortal
throat
Kombat. He must have played Mortal Kombat because I feel like every death was a fatality here.
literally.
Like,
And that's where it ends.
The best story
What's gonna happen next?
all time.
The best story of all time.
did you say this was an all-time best story for you?
Yes,
Do you mean in
it's
like
actually my
the
favorite
history of
story.
the Earth? Oh.
I love it. It's better than anything written by anyone.
Oh, interesting.
No, I'm kidding. But it's probably one of my favorite FNAF stories.
Shakespeare, eat your heart out.
Shakespeare versus the Mimic.
Mimic tear your heart out.
I like the story. I really liked it. I think it set up the character of the Mimic in a good way. It's kind of sad.
Yeah.
He went from like a babysitter to Gregory. I mean, a murderer.
Well, not yet.
No, yeah, a murderer.
Babysitter, murderer, then Gregory. Then murderer again.
Exactly. Yeah, I think it's good. I like it.
All
How do you
right,
guys feel
Inky,
about the
Inky,
punch-up?
I know you. I'm pretty sure you don't really like this story.
I did not like it much at first after reading it. It's grown on me a little bit.
How dare you?
It just, I don't know, after all the build-up of, like, it's like in Storyteller, for example, where he sees, like, the white tiger, and it's like, oh my gosh, the mistakes of my youth, they've come back, I'm so sorry, etc. I kind of,
Yeah.
I don't know, I expected, I think they built it up to be a little bit more, like, shocking and dramatic than it actually was. Because ultimately, it felt like, it's like, oh my gosh, the Mimic is back. Oh no. When in reality, the Mimic didn't really do anything as far as Edwin was concerned. Like, I doubt Edwin knew that, like, afterwards it learned to, like, kill people. So he had no real reason to be, like, shocked and scared of it. Otherwise, outside of just being surprised to see it. Like, it didn't do anything to him. He beat it up.
Well,
I mean,
Like,
know.
it's a reminder
I
of
think he
his.
could
It's a
do
reminder of like. It's a reminder of how like
he could have like left.
an accident
He
like
could-
killed his son.
Well, I mean, like, the Mimic made its way out of the warehouse and into, like, into like the Pizzaplex. So like, people found out what happened in that place, and I'm sure like it would have been on the news.
Yes, but we never get to see any indication that he knows, and you have to like put that together yourself, and that's like a complete hypothetical. So going into the Mimic, I
I
thought
put the pathetic
like,
and hypothetical.
huh?
What?
What? Oh, I got it.
It's not even
Um,
spelt the same.
It's not, yeah. So I kind of expected the Mimic to have a much bigger role in the first half of the story, rather than, like, I thought, like, the Mimic was going to go too far and accidentally kill David, rather than him just kind of just getting hit by a car, which feels, like, very sudden and definitely more realistic of a tragedy, but also just felt kind of like a missed opportunity, I guess, like, kind of like it was building up to something and it just kind of, like, abandoned it.
Well, I mean, I can
Whereas,
think
like-
of other ways it could have happened,
That's a
but it would have
good
been
point.
very not cool. Like, imagine
Maybe
if like David hit his son and then the Mimic started doing that, and that's what killed him.
I was thinking of something like that. Maybe if David hits the Mimic because he, I don't know, took his toy or something, and then the Mimic learns that and just stabs him in the chest or something.
Right,
I
something
think
like that, where like some kind of escalation of conflict, the Mimic observes it and accidentally does it to David without knowing any better. That's where I thought the story was going, And so to have the Mimic basically be a bystander in his own story when it comes to Edwin and David, like, was a weird choice in my opinion. And so, and I didn't even I didn't even make the connection that the Mimic learned to brutally murder people with like Mortal Kombat fatalities just from getting beaten up by Edwin. It seems like a bit of a stretch that like just getting beat up like with a metal pipe. Like, if anything, I feel like he would then beat others up with a metal pipe rather than just reaching inside them, ripping out their organs, and like ripping them apart. At least until, you know, he gets the programming to, like, you know, take off the heads and limbs and stack up the...
Counter argument, Inky. I mean, do we really want to see, or like, I get, like, you know, it's, you know, horror, but, like, I don't really want to see a kid get, like, absolutely just shanked by a robot, like gore for kids.
Well, I'm not saying they have to go all out on that, but just, it's not even just like a literary, like, not like a descriptive perspective, just it, from like a story cohesion, like, that makes sense for the story. Like, for the Mimic to have been the cause, like even if it didn't directly kill him, having it be the cause of his death makes a lot more sense. But instead, it wasn't. The Mimic had nothing to do with David's death at all. Like, David ran outside of his own accord.
Yes,
the Mimic didn't like open the door for him or anything. Like,
I think you're kind of missing the point, though. I don't think it's the Mimic. I don't think that David dying is a ramification of the Mimic. It's I'm trying to piece together a sentence. Basically, it's like David dies, and that is what leads into the Mimic being the Mimic. And I don't think it can be any other way, really, than that.
I mean,
because it's the pouring of the agony and all of the grief that Edwin is suffering from, and then that leads to his guilt later on in the storyteller and stuff like that. And I think that's what drives the story for me. I don't know.
I guess, but that would have been even more amplified if the Mimic accidentally, like, not even just like, oh, I learned hit, I'm going to hit, and kills him without realizing.
Hit. It is super effective.
Yeah, like, even if, I feel like it would have been best if, like, while they were playing, the Mimic accidentally killed David. That way you have all that agony, and it gives him even more of a reason to take out his anger on the Mimic.
But I feel like it's less human at that point. I don't know.
It's a robot.
I mean, I said, I kind of get what you mean. Like, him running out into the street and getting hit by a car makes a lot more sense. Like, it feels more like something that could happen, but that sacrifices a bit of story cohesion, in my opinion. And then the second segment was neat. You know, just these dudes walking around and getting ambushed by the Mimic. I was confused for a while because I didn't make the connection that Edwin beating up the Mimic like made him into this like chaotic serial killing monster. But you know, thinking about it more, it was a decent like second half, and I think it's an interesting story to look at in the fuller context, because I feel like the storyteller did not set up the Mimic well at all, because it set up a lot more mysteries and like a lot more like emotional plot points that kind of felt underdeveloped in the actual story of the Mimic. So I feel like I probably would have enjoyed it if the Mimic came first. Like, I think it would have been better off without that weird foreshadowing that ended up being like a letdown.
What does everyone else think about that?
Well, see, the thing is, the only reason, like, to me, the only reason the reveal of the Mimic in Storyteller was kind of is because we knew about Tiger Rock because of the cover. Like, if we hadn't had that would have been really interesting, I feel like.
Maybe, but rather, because it was, either way, it was a character we had never seen before. Like the Mimic, sure, we knew about the Mimic from like the epilogues and stuff, but we had no indication that this weird like white tiger was like necessarily the Mimic, and like it just seemed like a random new character that had like this super big like reveal as if we were supposed to know who they were. And if we had gotten the Mimic story before that, we would have known the significance of the white tiger.
But I think not having Edwin's backstory makes the story better.
Right. It's like you have to, in my opinion, in order for the storyteller to stand on its own 2 feet with that mystery, you have to sacrifice the entire story of the
Sure.
mimic.
Yeah.
And I feel like it is not worth it, in my opinion, because I didn't find the storyteller all that interesting. So it's like they put all the points into the storyteller having like a big mystery and stuff, and because of that, they kind of gutted the mimic.
I actually, possibly hot take, I actually prefer the storyteller to this story.
Interesting.
I think I just liked, I don't know.
I think that makes sense with what I'm saying, like, because that was the one that had all the mystery, and now that, like, they reveal what the mystery is all about,
Yeah.
it's not that satisfying, because
It's the
it
mystery to me,
seems, it made it seem a lot bigger than it actually was.
and the characters as well. Like, I feel like I didn't like the second section of this story that much, because I feel like it was just kind of like a direct copy or mimic of like the epilogues. It's just like more examples of the mimics victims and stuff, and like they don't like build up on the characters or anything because they're just there to die. So like I don't know, I like the character investment in like the storyteller and stuff, but I don't know.
Interesting. Psychic, what do you think?
I'm so glad you asked. The Mimic is the worst story in Tales from the Pizzaplex.
No.
No, it's I don't believe you.
No way. Yeah, it's alright. Yeah. See, for me, I honestly, but only because like I got spoiled on so much of it. Like it wasn't. It's like, oh,
classic FNAF community spoilers.
Yeah, because I was like, oh my goodness, it's the Mimic. Oh my gosh, it killed the child.
But it didn't.
Well, the child died. I totally didn't see that coming. Oh my goodness gracious. I'm so shocked about everything that's happening. I mean, I totally wasn't spoiled on every single important plot point.
We love it when that happens. We love live reading, don't we, guys? We love live reading. They're such a helpful part of the community.
Yeah, I love it when people just can't be patient for 5 seconds. Listen.
Okay.
And again, to all of you like, oh, live readings, it helps us, theorize as a community. It's important. It's
just do it after.
Do it after releases. Come on.
We're up on our little soapboxes again, and if I don't know, I probably should not say that actually. I was gonna say like, well, I guess I am gonna say it if I'm saying what I was gonna say. We don't take this super personally, live readers. But if it feels like we're calling you out, that is what we're trying to do. We are calling you out. We are saying that your fun activity is not helpful for the community.
It really isn't.
Drink responsibly, ladies and gentlemen.
Live read responsibly.
Listen.
Don't live read and drive.
I understand not everyone can afford the books, and I understand the community aspect, but you can live read after the book.
Everyone has the chance to read it.
I think you guys are being ratioed here. Not gonna lie.
We're like the only. We're like 2 of like 5 people who actually care. It's unfortunate. It's annoying. It's really annoying. Anyway, that was a side tangent.
I feel like we have a very wide range of opinions about.
I wasn't expecting this. No, I'm not done. I'm sorry, Ozone, I'm not done. I haven't even read Tiger Rock, and I already know major plot points from B7 too. Because everyone's talking about FNAF 4, and everyone
yeah,
it's ridiculous.
And that is why I'm kind of gonna be glad if we don't get more books, because I'm done with this crap. That's right, FNAF community, you've driven us away.
Imagine if people were somehow able to get the games early.
That would be that would be like
YouTubers be like
put it in that perspective. At least YouTubers, you have that specific framing. Like if someone leaked the entire game early and you wanted to play it, imagine that, but with the books. That's how we feel.
I feel like it's just the culture of
it is. It's the culture
about it.
Yeah. All we can do is complain and hope people feel bad because we're trying to make you feel bad.
Yeah,
feel bad.
Get guilt tripped. Because everyone knows that people care about other people in this world.
Hopefully.
So yeah, Ozone, you were saying like
Yeah, you were
wide
saying.
opinions on the mimic.
Yeah, I wasn't expecting that, honestly. I thought everybody was just going to say it's a good story.
It's okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, it's okay. It's, yeah.
Meanwhile, Arcadendo crying in the corner with it being the best
story
story
ever. Better than the Bible.
It's better than anything I've ever seen in my entire life.
All right. Well, that's cool.
It would have been good as like a show, a movie.
The Mimic movie.
Mimic the
Yeah.
movie.
Mimic the movie.
The
Say it in
Mimic
Lumsden's project.
Mimic V.
Chris
the
Pratt.
Chris
The
Pratt is
movie.
the mimic.
Chris Pratt as the Mimic.
The movie.
The Super Mimic Bros movie.
The super. Who's the other mimic?
I'm the Mimic. Oh, yeah.
All right. Do we want to touch on the epilogue?
Yeah, well, I guess we should. So,
What
okay,
even
which
happened in
one
this
was?
one?
This one was the one where the nerd dies, I think.
Okay, so we got 3 people left. We got
Yeah.
Jace, Kelly, and Lucia. And they're all like, well,
Trying
we're
to survive.
Yeah, we're gonna try our best. No promises though. So they're like, okay, let's do this. So Jason's like, okay, I have this idea. I'll crawl through the vent or something. Yada yada. We've read this before.
Right, and like it was a neat plan. He was like, I'm like lighter. I'll try and go through. The mimic will be too heavy, and it'll like break the vent, and he'll fall to his death, and we'll trap him in the room, or like at least he just can't get out.
Mm-hmm.
And there was a neat moment with like Jace, like getting the courage to like kind of, he was like, he knew he was like kind of maybe about to die, so he kissed Lucia, and she was like, "Wait, whoa, that was crazy, that was wild." And
Because
he
this
goes,
whole time, Lucia's wanted the other guy that died, whatever his name
right, and
was.
she kind of like blames Jace for not,
and
like-
then she's like, huh, maybe this guy isn't so bad.
yeah, and then he tries his plan, and it
Guess what happened?
yeah, the mimic that happens.
Yeah, the mimic happens.
The mimic happens.
They're like, they think it works for a second, and they're like, yay!
And then they hear him
Then they hear him scream, and then Kelly and Lucia hug, and they're like, no, there's only 2 of us now. And only
Yeah.
2 remained.
And they die.
And I wonder what's going to happen in the next epilogue. I mean, I totally haven't been spoiled by it. That'd
Yeah,
be
same.
ridiculous.
I was spoiled before too. Oh, isn't it
really?
great how we can't enjoy the stories?
Oh,
And like, no, when we
The
say
next
like
one is
everything,
good,
when we
though.
say everything gets spoiled when people do live readings, I mean everything.
Yeah,
Like,
everything.
you cannot avoid it.
Yeah, there's literally no way. I'll be like on Twitter. I'll be like scrolling up, and I just see like an all caps. Oh my gosh, this huge thing just happened, and then I scroll a bit more, and it's like Tales from the Pizza Box 8 spoilers.
Lovely.
Put it at the bottom. Don't people normally scroll up
People
No.
want clicks. People want clicks.
who the hell scrolls
Wait.
up?
Wait, you scroll up?
on Twitter?
What?
Yeah.
How does that work?
That is
How
part
do
of
you
your problem.
how do you do
Psychic.
that? What? How? Huh?
Huh? Okay. So like if I'm on Twitter, I'm scrolling up to get the new stuff, and then it'll refresh, and then
No.
more stuff will appear.
You scroll up all the way and then you scroll down.
What? Who you do that?
Okay, I don't use Twitter enough to have an opinion on this. Thankfully. Anyway.
Actually called X.
For those of you on the
Shut
podcast
up.
who can't see it, for those of you listening who can't see cameras, I was just on Twitter.
Psychic demonstrated the technique, and yeah, okay, it's interesting. Anyway, speaking of interesting, or maybe not interesting, depending on who you ask, epilogue, what do we...
Wait, that's what Arcade No looks like?
Oh, secret, like,
No, that
exclusive
was
footage.
King. What? Who was that? Prince Charles? I don't know.
That was King Charles.
That was King
King
Charles
That was King Charles.
of England,
I've never
England.
seen-
Silly
King
psychic.
Charles.
That was King Charles.
Anyway, what did we think about Nexie as a whole?
I liked it. It
I
was...
think it was meh.
yeah,
It was alright.
Yeah,
I've only read 2 of the stories.
I think a quarter of it was amazing.
Okay, then. No.
I agree, but that quarter is Nexie.
Mimic.
You know what?
Mimic
Yeah, but
versus
I
if you're,
still,
if you're saying the mimic was the best part, then you got to say half of it was good.
I think even
Oh
still,
yeah, true.
Tales from Pizza
Well, actually,
is
3/4.
leagues better than Fazbear Frights. Still, I'm still gonna say.
I am falling off that train.
Really?
I think 5 and onwards have been dropping. Have been dropping hard and fast. And that includes Tiger Rock, which we'll get to another time.
See, I think okay, for me, it kind of falls back to the whole like, some of this is like some of these are like mimic stories, and other ones are like self-contained stories.
Yep, and I'm enjoying the self-contained stories a lot more, and they're becoming a lot less common.
Yeah, I feel like that happens with like shows and stuff that I watch, where it's like early seasons are like episodic, and then late seasons like all story, and I'm like, I kind of miss the old one.
I think it depends on preference, really. Like, Fazbear
It
Frights
does.
is a great collection of short stories that aren't really that intertwined with each other,
Yeah.
apart from the Stitch Ray Stingers. But like, as
I
you say,
think-
like Tales is really intertwining on like the whole mimic stuff, and I think
Yeah,
it's
yeah,
good. But
And
it's
then
I
the
think-
mimic appeared in.
I think there's a reason that the first book is still my favorite. There was nothing to connect to. It was all
Yeah.
like completely fresh new things.
Lala's
and-
game is so. I love Lala's game.
I would probably enjoy like the interconnected stuff a bit more if like I cared as much about the Mimic story, but it's kind of a situation where we know how he started, we know where he ends up. So all the stuff in between doesn't really feel as
We
important.
know how he started. We know how he ends up.
Okay, the Mimic is Santa. Yeah. So I think ever since the 5th one. The 5th one is where it really started to drop off for me.
So halfway
Interesting.
through.
Yeah, about halfway. Second half of Tales from the Pizzaplex so far, not really impressing me a ton, aside from like 1 or 2 stories, which, you
Like
know,
the mimic.
the Mimic was okay. I hope B7-2 can turn that around, but we'll see.
Oh yeah, I'm
I
excited
thought it
for
might.
that.
I honestly think Tiger Rock turned it around, but whatever.
Tiger Rock has one story that I really was entertained by, and I'm sure we'll talk about that.
Oh,
I still need to read Tiger Rock, but I got it
is it the
delivered.
Monty within?
I got it
It
delivered
is
from
the
home.
Monty within. I love intrusive thoughts, Monty.
What?
Oh, nothing. You'll see.
Okay.
But is that basically all we have for this episode? This comeback episode for the final stretch of the Dark Rooms podcast?
I think so. So until next time, we're gonna be back with probably Ruin, actually.
Yeah, Ruins up
On
next
the
on
next
the
episode of the Dark Rooms
I am
podcast.
Gregory. I am
Season
Gregory.
3.
I am
talking
Gregory.
block.
Let's just talk over each other. That's funny.
Yeah.
The
Ruin.
mimic.
Ruin is up next on the talking block. That's like it's like chopping block, but it's like talking, and that's
The
neat.
talking block.
I just came up with that. That's I like that. I might use that someday.
Welcome to the Talking Block podcast.
No, it's not like a talking like block, like Roblox or something. I don't
Minecraft podcast called the
No,
Talking Block.
No.
Oh, that's actually genius. Ozone's
there
gone.
goes Ozone. Okay, well, bye.
And I guess with that, we will see you next time on the Dark Rooms podcast, season 3. Bye-bye, everybody.
Bye.
Goodbye.